Hello everybody, I'm Paul Higgins and welcome to Panama. Today we feature the Panama Ironman 70.3. This race offers an incredible country as the backdrop to the race, some of the best racers in the world, and a fantastic course. The Ironman 70.3 Panama is an exceptional event drawing hundreds of competitors from a wide variety of countries throughout the world. Produced so very well by BN Sports, the Ironman 70.3 Panama is also recognized as the Latin American Pro Championship. The country of Panama offers an ideal setting for such a spectacular and memorable event. With the backdrop of the city and the energy of the people of Panama, this race is unlike any other. The anticipation of race day began with the pre-race expo held at the Trump Hotel. This two-day event gave the racers an opportunity to finalize any last-minute details with equipment and/or supplies that they might need. What followed would be a three-stage race that started in the Panama Canal with the Speedo swim course. The top male and female professionals in the sport swam arm in arm in what would be a very fast swim in the flowing current of the Panama Canal. From there, we witnessed what would be a very competitive men's bike race with the lead changing hands several times. The ladies jockeyed for position early before settling into a rhythm. The Ironman 70.3 Panama concluded with an energized run on the causeway of the Panama Canal. It would be a memorable day of racing, and today we recap the Ironman 70.3 Panama, crowning the Latin American Pro Champions. Plus, we'll explore Panama and discover why athletes from around the world not only come to Panama for the race. We'll have all this and much more as all the action from the Ironman 70.3 Panama starts right now. Today's race, as mentioned, starts off with a swim, and not too many people can say they swam in the Panama Canal, but our racers get that opportunity today. Let's get set for the start. It's early morning on race day. There's nothing like it. A calm, a stillness in the air. The sun is coming up. One last opportunity to get lost in your thoughts and mentally run all aspects of the race in your mind. The solitude of race day signifies the many hours, days, weeks, and months of preparation that a competitor has to endure to ultimately test their skill, physical ability, and most of all, mental toughness. There is no other race like the Ironman 70.3 Panama, and it was about to get underway. The international field of male professional athletes were side by side in the Panama Canal as the Speedo swim course unleashed a fast-moving first leg of the Ironman 70.3 Panama. The swimmers did get off to a great start, and aided by the heavy current in the Panama Canal, it would be a great race. It was no surprise that Colombian Olympian Carlos Javier Quinchera dashed out to the early lead. The men were not alone in the water, as 5 minutes later, the ladies would get their opportunity to swim the waters of the Panama Canal. They too would get off to a clean start, and unlike the men, they took a more direct approach, keeping a sight line on the buoys as they established a rhythmic cadence of their own. Jody Swallow, Camilla Peterson, and Amy Marsh were the front runners for the ladies. Meanwhile, as the sun continued to rise, the men's race started to spread out a bit, as Carlos Quinchera was on a quick pace and the first swimmer out of the water, entering the steep steps to the first transition. Igor Emirelli, Manuel Wurtele, and Paul Matthews were not far behind, as they found their legs after being in the water just over 20 minutes. Carlos Quinchera, in first out of the water and into the transition, ran down the causeway to find his awaiting bike. Back at the steps, the rest of the men's swimmers made their way out of the water. For some, this was not their strong point, but they were about to make up time on the bike. Back at the transition area, the urgency to hit the streets of Panama accelerated, with each new competitor coming in to find their bike. After finding his pedals but not sliding his feet into his shoes, Paul Matthews took to the bike course in the lead. Back at the steps for the women, Jody Swallow exited the water at exactly 20 minutes. As she made her way up the steps, she readied herself for the bike transition. Behind her was Camilla Peterson, Amy Marsh, and Kelly Williamson. The men's bike race started out very quickly, as Paul Matthews would take the initial lead in a race that would change hands and change geography many times. The transition area for the women started to draw a crowd. The festive atmosphere of this race kicked in as the locals would get an opportunity to cheer on their favorite hometown athletes as they took to the course. For some, the transition area would be a moment of solitude before they would hit the frenzied bike course. 1/3 of the Ironman 70.3 Panama was in the books. For the moment, Paul Matthews had the lead for the men, but the lead and the drama would start to unfold to tell a great story. On the bike course, the athletes are immediately faced with a changing and challenging course, which leaves little time for any of them to get in any type of rhythm. Paul Matthews exited the water in 4th place. He had an excellent transition from the swim to the bike, taking over the lead. And as he pedals over the Bridge of Americas, the historic Panama Canal is in the background. The course would quickly transform as the fast downhill gave way to a climb that would result in a change, as Fraser Cartmel would take over the top spot. The ladies were now on the bike course as well, and they too would endure a fast ascent before their climb. The top spots for the men started to shuffle as Igor Emirelli moved into 2nd place, and last year's champ Bevan Docherty pedaled into 4th. When we return, the drama of the Ironman 70.3 Panama kicks into a higher gear as the top spot in the men's race continues to change hands, and we establish a bona fide leader in the women's race. Plus, we'll share with you some hidden gems of the country of Panama and why the athletes make this a race that they don't miss. BN Sports is proud to present events worldwide. Don't miss their next event, the Jeep Ironman 70.3 San Juan. Come to Puerto Rico to enjoy this incredible event. The Puerto Rico Marathon and Half Marathon, a BN Sports event, is the island's full-distance marathon and serves as a Boston qualifier. Visit us at www.marathonpuertorico.com. This portion of the Ironman 70.3 Panama has been brought to you by Mill Harbor, our good friend in Panama, and by Panama for You, your Panama expert that will custom design your unforgettable Panama experience. Visit them at PanamaForYou.com.